what's your main reason for holding the services today in the last week?
The main reason would be the reason why services have been held here every Sunday, and that is for Christians to come together, fellowship, hear the Word of God, and worship together.
Okay. Last week, the church got a $2,300 fine due to services. Are you guys planning to fight the ticket and then also bring up a constitution challenge? Is that the plan?
So last week, a $2,300 fine was issued to the church under the COVID Measures Act, which is interesting that it would be issued under that act. The order that the public health officials, namely the bylaw officers, were operating under was the public health order, but there seemed to be mass confusion when it came time for them to produce the orders or identify what ministerial order the RCMP was operating under. So the ticket got issued during the first service. We certainly had the questions brought up with law enforcement agencies on the second. There was a threat of issuing more tickets, but common sense and logic and perhaps legal challenges made them think otherwise, and they left.
Okay. So there have been mixed reaction online to you guys defying the government health orders.
That would be an understatement. Mixed reaction would be an understatement.
Yeah. Well, a lot of different reactions online. What do you say to those critics that say that you're in violation and that you should be shut down?
I think that this is an opportunity for a number of people to get better informed about the charter rights, about the rights of the church in general within our society and our communities. And if it takes this kind of discussion, it would be nice if some of the discussion was more tempered and respectful. But certainly I think the church has come to understand that they are fair game and can be targeted with a different set of rules. But
Right.
Perhaps this will be an education to many people. I will be in the days to come issuing some very concerning discussions that have taken place online from NDP members, specifically, including one individual who admits that he runs attack ads on religious leaders during elections for the NDP. So it's an interesting situation that is expanding into other areas and exposing a lot of contempt and division for the church. The church plays an important role in our society and should be respected.
Right. And okay. So what do you say to the Christians who say are using like Romans 13 as their source for keeping obeying the government orders and laws regarding the church? Because there's some Christians saying Christian and faith people of faith should obey government leader.
Certainly my phones have been extraordinarily busy the last 2 weeks and leading up to today from a variety of churches and different congregations, and the joy of living in Canada is people are entitled to their differing opinions.
Yeah.
What at the end of the day I hope people realize and come to want to protect is our freedoms and our liberties. And if one church wants to basically exercise its rights under the charter, that they get to do so.
Yeah. And based on what I saw today, I've been here for about an hour since the in-between services. I noticed that a majority of the people are following the mask orders and the stuff, so they don't have an issue with the mask mandates per se, right?
I haven't witnessed that. I see a lot of people exercising their right to wear a mask, and I see a lot of people exercising their right not to wear a mask.
Okay.
Certainly the debate around masks will become integral, I believe, as these discussions happen. Bonnie Henry knows very well that the evidence in support of masks, reducing the contagion factors to a level that is meaningful, does not exist. I mean, if it did, everybody wearing masks so far, we would hopefully have started to see the curve flatten again. That's not happening. And when you look at the Ontario decision, in which my understanding Bonnie Henry participated in as an expert witness, involving nurses who are involved in treating people with communicable diseases in Ontario, that decision in 2016 involved nurses who didn't want to be vaccinated. And so the hospital said, okay, don't get vaccinated, but you have to wear masks.
Yeah.
The nurses union said no, our nurses don't want to wear masks. So they went to arbitration, and certainly that decision is chock-a-block full of information on how ineffective masks are. And at the end of the day, the nurses won, no vaccination, no masks.
Yeah, I think that would make Bonnie Henry comments last Thursday, I believe, on not making the vaccine mandatory for the province, I guess, because of that decision.
I think the platitudes that are being given to not enforcing everyone get vaccinated is a very interesting psychological ploy, because out of the same breath comes people who are going to say, well, you can't come to our restaurant unless you're vaccinated. You can't travel on this airline unless you're vaccinated. Certainly, the division that is being generated purposely, people reporting on each other if they have a party, and certainly now people reporting on each other if you don't have a vaccination, or you're being denied services as a result of whether you're vaccinated or not, should be of concern to everybody.
Right.
As I said months ago, this has been a fascinating experiment in psychological conditioning and compliance of the populace, but the real test will become when I choose not to be vaccinated, and whether my neighbor will protect my right not to be.
Right. Another question is pertaining to in Alberta, the Justice Centre and an individual lawyer filed injunction against the province of Alberta. And is your group and the group of churches planning to do a similar action, if you can say?
So our legal strategy, we had a lot of discussions over whether or not we would get an injunction or not. The problem is we can spend thousands of dollars getting into court, and the government can just change one or two of the rules, and that makes all that good work for that particular legal case moot.
Yeah.
We really needed a ticket. We really needed a fine. And so that was, for legal purposes and legal strategy, when that happened last week, a very good opportunity. Now, they can rip up the ticket at any point in time, which will, kind of kibosh any legal action. We truly hoped, at least I did, to be fined today, so that we could, garner support for those legal cases. But at this point, we have lawyers that are working on this, and this matter will be played out in the courts, failing them not just doing away with the ticket.
Okay. Just kind of answering that question, and I see here you got people sanitizing and stuff like that.
Oh, I think the church has been very rigorous in ensuring that the spread of COVID. I mean, nobody's arguing that COVID is a bad thing. I wouldn't want it.
Yeah.
But it is a flu. It's a bad flu. And I think the patronizing attitude of government that we are irresponsible as citizens is one of the things that's most frustrating in this. I've never gone out of my way to catch a flu, and if I know somebody's contagious, chances are I don't need public health orders mandating I can't be in contact with that person to, govern my actions not to get their cooties, right? So I think the hype and hysteria has to end on this. I think we need to have some serious discussions about what is appropriate, what isn't. At this point in time, it looks like, Christmas dinners are going to be shut down for people.
Yeah.
So I just suggest that they hold a political meeting. Perfect opportunity to teach the kids about how politics dictates your life.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.